from the Starport transmissions. Your entrance to the future. Baselines drop like an asteroid.
Hi friends, welcome to Starport Transmissions, episode 1. I've really been wanting to make this podcast for a while, but I just haven't had the time. I'm just kind of dabbling in the world of content creating and recording. Specifically, I'm most interested in the theme park realm of things. So this is going to be a podcast that is focused on that sort of stuff. Abby and I just returned from a 6-day trip to Walt Disney World. We are from the DMV area, originally from New York. Both have been here for about 6 years. So the closest theme park to me is Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. But the park I do go to the most is Walt Disney World. I'm a D23 member. I'm not an annual pass holder just yet, but I really do plan on purchasing one probably within the next few months. But yeah, this will be focused on that. But for this episode specifically, I'm just kind of go over our trip day by day and deep dive into some of the attractions, specifically some of the ones that were refurbed recently. And some of the food that we ate. We went to Epcot after hours, and we also did the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, which is a blast. So I'll go into some of the stuff from that as well. So day 1, we checked into our resort, Coronado Springs. We were in the Ranchos area, which was unfortunately super far from the lobby, but we don't mind walking. You know, we're young and able to, so it's not too bad. We did realize like halfway through our trip that there was a quicker way to walk to the lobby instead of walking all the way around, but it's still a great resort for a moderate tier. My favorite moderate resort would be Port Orleans French Quarters. It's super quiet, but I do enjoy Coronado Springs. I've also stayed at Caribbean Beach before, which is awesome because you have the Skyliner access. But Coronado Springs has lots of food options. There's the market, which is like the typical food court, and then they have Rick's Sports Bar, which is literally what it says it is. It's a sports bar. Lots of TVs if you need to watch a sports event, and I believe it's open a little bit later than the actual food court. They have a Mexican restaurant, which I have not tried, and then they have a bar type lounge. I think it's called Two Bridges or Three Bridges. Also have not tried that, but they have a pool bar which serves food at the dig site, which is the large pool with a water slide, which is really, really cool. There's, a lot of like structures. There's like a pyramid looking kind of Aztec-ish building by the pool, and there's a slide, which is great. And then there's also a few smaller pools. There's a pool by like the Ranchos area that we stayed in and we did utilize, because it's definitely a lot less crowded than the main pool. We like to like hit the parks early in the morning and then kind of do like a midday rest, either where we just take a nap or we go in the pool for a little bit, and we did utilize that Ranchos pool, which was great. Day 1, after getting to our resort, leaving our luggage with the bellhop, we went over to Typhoon Lagoon. We took the bus from a resort, and then you have to switch in Disney Springs to get to the water park. Super easy process. My first impression of this water park was how clean it was. I am kind of skeeved out a little bit by the water parks in general, but the Disney one obviously has higher standards and was super clean. The wave pool was awesome. Very clean, giant waves. I don't know how like little kids handle it, because some of the waves are so big. It reminded me of like going to the ocean back home from where I'm from, and it was just awesome. I would stay in there all day if I could. We did all of the slides pretty much. The first one we did, I believe, was the Crush and Gusher, where there's 3 separate slides, and each slide is different. I believe 2 of them you can ride with 2 people, and then any of them you can ride as a single rider. We did ride all 3. I think it was like the banana one that we enjoyed the most. And then we did do the large body slide, which was crazy. I forget the name of it off the top of my head. I'm trying to look. The Humunga Cowabunga is the name of the body slide, and it is just awesome. Pretty much like I would say, only actual like thrill ride there. We did the Key Hall Falls, which is like a smaller single rider tube ride. The Misadventure Falls as well, which is like a roller coaster style, like family tube ride. If there's only like 1 or 2 of you, you're gonna be paired up with people from outside your party, which who cares? It's a quick ride. There's animatronics in that ride, which I thought was really cool. Like, you know, Disney's known for their animatronics, and these were really cool. But overall, like Typhoon Lagoon, I would go probably again, and maybe even visit Blizzard Beach because of how impressed I was with this water park. I did, obviously get the free admission for 2025 on your check-in day, which I would not pass up. It's free, which is, you can't pass that up. It's free. After we went to the water park, we went back to our resort and showered and cleaned up a little bit, and then we went over to Disney Springs. We checked out World of Disney, saw all the new Halloween merch. I got like a super cool rugby jersey style long sleeve, which is it was like Haunted Mansion. We went over to Gideon's, which is kind of like a must-do for us each trip. And we got some cookies. I got the chocolate chip cookie, and Abby got, I believe it was a banana bread cookie. Both super delicious. They had a Halloween like pumpkin cookie. It looked just like a little too rich for me. It did look really good, but I just feel I would probably take a few bites of it, and I would not eat the rest of it. But overall, really good place for cookies, and they have cake slices, and they have cold brew, which I haven't tried, but it is on my to-do list. Ate at the Polite Pig, which was really, I believe, my first time going in there. We you go in and basically order at the counter, and if you're choosing to stay and sit down, they give you like a little buzzer thing, and then they bring the food to your table. I got the what did I get? I got mac and cheese, and I got the roast. It's like your basic barbecue. It's just they're all in like separate containers on like a little tray, and it really was delicious. I could keep eating it. I probably wouldn't stop if they kept feeding it to me. That's how good it was. But overall, really enjoyed that restaurant, and I would definitely go back to that one. That pretty much sums up our first day of the trip. We were super tired from traveling, so we did just go back to our resort and crash because we were going to get up early the following morning for day 2. We were going to Animal Kingdom and Epcot after hours. So we got to Animal Kingdom, arrived there. I usually do not buy the Lightning Lane for Animal Kingdom. I just feel like it truly is not worth it. Most of the attractions do not have a super long wait, and you could kind of ride all the attractions probably by noon if you get there when it opens. I did buy a single Lightning Lane pass for us for Flight of Passage, which I would say is probably the best ride at Animal Kingdom Park. It's just super immersive. If you're a fan of Pandora or Avatar specifically, I really recommend riding that. The first ride we did kind of dart over to was the Navi River ride. I feel like it is super underrated, but I do understand they could have done way more with that ride, added way more details and maybe even more animatronics. They have a really, really big animatronic in that ride, which don't quote me on this, but I think it might be one of the most expensive animatronics on Walt Disney World property. It is super, super impressive. The first time you see it, it kind of is mind-blowing. It is known to break down from time to time, so I wouldn't be surprised if you wait in line and the animatronic isn't there. But knock on wood, I have never come across that issue, so it always is a must-do for me. I love it. Super, super fun, relaxing ride. If you could do it midday, it's just a nice little break. We did go over to Flight of Passage next. And yeah, it's just that I have to do that ride every time I visit Animal Kingdom. It is mind-blowing to me. I do think, though, it does need an update on the screens. I don't know if it's the glasses or if it's just becoming a bit dated, but I feel when I first rode that ride, the screen was crystal clear, and it's just so immersive, and the smells, and just you really do feel like you're in Pandora riding that ride. The best part of that ride is literally the smells. It smells amazing in there. Dinosaur is, I should say was now, because I'll never ride it again, was my favorite ride at Animal Kingdom. It's just super nostalgic for me. Remember riding it as a kid when it was Countdown to Extinction, and I do feel like it was a bit scarier back then. Maybe it was just because I was a child, but a few trips ago I was able to ride that ride by myself, and I got a whole car to myself. It was midday. It was a weird time in December, and I was probably the most horrified I have ever been in my life, just being in that building by yourself. It's super dark, and just being around those gigantic dinosaur animatronics, and you just know you were the only person inside of that ride building was absolutely horrifying. I have a picture of it. I'll attach it if I can figure out how to do so. And it's just me by myself on the ride, and horrifying. Great ride. Rest in peace to that ride. They are redoing it into Indiana Jones, which I kind of have mixed feelings about, just because I really don't know how popular the Indiana Jones franchise is with children in current day. I know it's super, super popular with people from my age growing up and stuff, but I just feel like that it's a missed opportunity where they could have made that something so much better. But I'm sure it will be great. I think it mimics the same exact track as the Indiana Jones ride in Disneyland, which is why they are probably choosing to use that IP just because it's probably cheaper and they already have the actual like layout of the ride from Disneyland. But regardless, I'm excited for it, and I obviously will be riding that when it opens. We ate at I don't know if I'm saying this right, but Cthulhu Canteen. It's in Pandora. I needed to try those cheeseburger dumplings, and they did not disappoint. They were delicious. I'm a huge cheeseburger spring roll fan from the spring roll cart in the Magic Kingdom, so this was a must for me, and this was my first time having them, and they were super delicious. We went over to the Festival of the Lion King show, which I don't know if I have ever done that before, or I have when I was a child, but I just didn't remember. But it was amazing. Definitely worth it if you can get to it on your Animal Kingdom days. The animatronics of Pumbaa, I'm not sure if they're complete animatronics or how they kind of operate, but they were really cool. There's a Simba one, and then just like the performers in that show are amazing. There's like these gymnasts, which are monkeys in the show, and they were awesome. So it's something that I would not miss if you can. I've never seen the Finding Nemo show at Animal Kingdom, but I definitely plan on checking that out soon. And then, of course, we had to hit up Everest, which is just a must-do. It's one of the best roller coasters on Walt Disney World property. A big animatronic fan that I am, I do wish that the Yeti was operating and moving and functioning, but I guess it has compromised the foundation and structure of the actual mountain, which is why it does not move anymore. But it still is super scary. They shine like this strobe light on it, and it's just awesome. When you go backwards on that ride, it's just next level. I have there was a day where I rode it, I believe it was like 5 or 6 times in a row, and I think it was the same day that I rode Dinosaur by myself, and just a super cool experience. That roller coaster is amazing. So after Animal Kingdom, we went back to our resort and took a little rest before we went over to Epcot After Hours. The After Hours events are amazing just because there's so much less people in the park and you have free roam, and they give you some Mickey bars and popcorn and water and soda, and it's just a really cool experience. The tickets are a little bit pricey, but I really would say it is worth it. We've done the Hollywood Studios one as well, but I really did enjoy the Epcot one. We got to ride Guardians. I still have not gotten Everybody Wants to Rule the World, which is my sought after song on that ride, but there's hope. I'm going back in February. I got Conga on my first ride, and then I can't remember what we got the second ride. But we rode that, which is one of probably in my top 5 rides at Walt Disney World. It's just next level design. The way that I don't want to give away too much if people haven't ridden it, because it is still considered new, I would say, but just like the way that the ride vehicle moves, and even like the queue and like the pre-show is just amazing. So definitely check out that ride. The new Test Track 3.0. I really was taken back by this a bit. I would say overall I did enjoy it. I thought it's super fun. The technology in there really is crazy. Again, like I don't want to give away too much because experiencing it for the first time really is cool. Just like the set designs, going through like the first scenes and tests are really cool. They built like a whole little village in there. And the technology is just next level. As far as them like referencing World of Motion inside the actual ride, I really didn't get as much as they said that they would. When you hit like the outdoor track, there's like a giant World of Motion like logo painted on the asphalt. But the ride vehicle is, I'm pretty sure it is the same ride vehicle as Test Track 2.0, just kind of painted and revamped. I just need to say I am so happy they took away the build your own, create your own car thing in the pre-show. It never worked for me. It was outdated, and I absolutely despised it at this point. So I'm just really grateful they took that away. Hated it. But yeah, definitely ride this ride. It's a blast. The after hours event, they had like this DJ in the Encanto area, like near Creations. That was cool, I guess. Goofy was like out there dancing. I had this thought when I went into Creations and was like browsing around. I was like, it always smells god awful in this building, and I was like, it must just be like people are walking around all day and then they come in this building and they're so excited to be shopping that they're like either passing gas or people just smell. But I did some research, and apparently that building is like built over like a giant sewer pipe, which is why it always smells foul in there. So yeah, anyway, after hours event, amazing. Please go if you have the opportunity. Day 3 was kind of a chill day for us. We woke up and we went to 1900 Park Fair, which is a restaurant I've never had an issue getting a reservation to. Really cool character dining experience at the Grand Floridian. You get to meet Aladdin, Tiana, Cinderella, and what's her name from Encanto? I can't think. But yeah, you get to meet some characters. Super cute for children. And the food is pretty delicious. Typical Disney breakfast buffet food. They have like these cheesy potato hash brown things that I could probably eat every day of my life if I was able to. Delicious. We then went back to a resort and we went and chilled by the dig site pool. It was kind of like crappy rainy weather for us, but we were able to go into the hot tub and the pool with impeccable timing. Right as we were getting out of the pool is when it started to rain. So it was a good little rest for us. And then we headed over to Halloween Horror Nights, which I was super excited about. I'm a big fan of the Terrifier franchise. I love horror movies. I used to go to the Fangoria Fest as a young kid, and just like the Terrifier franchise, just like how it started as kind of like an underground, low budget film, and then what it has turned into is really awesome. Super gory movie franchise. The Terrifier house obviously was a super must do. We were really monitoring the apps of like the flux of like the wait times, and and they are all really high. So be prepared. We went on the weekend, obviously, so wait times were higher, but I think we got lucky. We waited probably about 35 minutes for a Terrifier. We just lucked out and went in line at the right time. That house, like, their movie set qualities, the way that they set up these haunted houses at Halloween Horror Nights. So if you haven't been, and there's like an IP that you are really interested in, like last year was Insidious, which is also, I'm a huge fan of that movie franchise, and that house and the Terrifier house are still my favorites that I've ever been through. The scare actors are amazing, and the sets are crazy. We went on that. We went in the Fallout house, which is not super scary, but just, again, like the scare actors, there was a scare actor in there that, like, if I saw them on the street, I would think that they were probably Ella Purnell, the main actress from Fallout. Like, spot on casting. Like, really, really did look like her, and she's very unique looking. So the fact that they got someone that looks so much like her is incredible. Set designs in there are like next level. We did see Art the Clown walking around, so I don't know why people are starting rumors on TikTok saying that people ruined it and he's not walking around anymore. I don't know. We went on a weekend and it was super busy, and he was walking through the crowds and was interacting with people. So I don't know where that rumor came from, but he's there. The other house we did was Beyond the Grave, I think it's called. It's basically, theme of that is like you are inside of a grave, and you kind of are looking up and you can see like the light. You're basically being like buried alive, essentially. Not the scariest, but like really, really cool designs in there. For food, we went to the Terrifier booth, and we did get the giant corn dog and the massive sized mozzarella stick, which was amazing. The mozzarella stick, great, not dry, cheese pull, comes with marinara sauce, kind of like your typical mozzarella stick, but better. The corn dog, like the breading on the corn dog was like not like soft per se. It was kind of like just like flaked off, and there was less breading than there was dog. So it ended up turning into like just like a hot dog as I was eating it, but it was pretty good. And then we did eat at Mel's Die-In. That was like the last thing we did after going through all the scare zones. I got like a milkshake and chicken tenders, and it's really more for like the theming. During Halloween, they turn it into like a zombie infested diner, so it's really cool. My favorite scare zone that we went through probably was like the cat lady one. There's like a mini little haunted house that you walk through, and just like the set design of like her house is crazy. Super cool. All right, so the next day, day 3, or technically day 4, we went to Hollywood Studios. We did like a full day there, with like a midday break. I did buy the Lightning Lane multi-pass, whatever the heck it's called currently. We rode Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad, which is super cute ride. I'm just like everyone else where I say I wish they never took away the great movie ride. I really feel like Hollywood Studios has gotten away from that Hollywood immersive vibe, and gotten more to IP. with like the upcoming Monsters Inc. area. I was absolutely devastated. They took away Muppet 3D Vision and the Muppet Courtyard. That was my absolute favorite area in Hollywood Studios. I'm a big Muppet fan. I have been my entire life, and it was just really crappy to see that go. That was like one of like the last attractions that really gave me like the original Hollywood studio vibes. Yeah, but they had like the wall up, and it had the the Monsters Inc. Like plans like on the wall, and yeah, I'm sure that will be a really cool ride. So we did, yeah, the Mickey Minnie ride. I do love that ride. The song is super catchy. It's always stuck in my head. Really cool designs like inside of that building. And I do think it's like really cool that it is in like the Chinese theater still. They easily could have like taken that away, and I think that's cool that they did leave that. Galaxy's Edge. I'm a super Star Wars fan, and the first time I stepped into that area, I like this is gonna sound crazy, and you can make fun of me, but like I literally like was holding back tears like when I saw the Millennium Falcon. It is just like next level. So realistic. The Rise of the Resistance ride always has like 100+ minute wait time, so I do buy like the Lightning Lane single pass. But it's insane. The ride itself, like the queue and like the pre-show is like part of the ride. I can't really explain it. Like you like go into like this essentially like ride vehicle, and you like think it's the ride, but it's not. And then you just get out and you keep going into these different areas, and you're captured by like the Empire, and like the room that has all those stormtroopers is just mind blowing. Like you probably would think that they're real, and that they're cast members in there, but they're not, and it's amazing. I love that ride, and I will do it every single time if I have the opportunity. Smuggler's Run, also really cool. You're like driving the Millennium Falcon. If you can be a pilot, highly recommend, because if like a little kid gets hold of that pilot position, you will be motion sick. And it will be a heck of a ride. But yeah, I love that ride. Really immersive, really cool. I wish they kind of had like more to do in that area, but just like eating and drinking the blue milk and getting a reservation at Oga's is really fun. And just like mind blowing to be in that area. I really love it. The Tower of Terror is one of my favorite rides ever. And if they ever take that away, I will be chaining myself to that building. I love the Twilight Zone. I'm a big fan of horror, and I guess you can consider it like science fiction. And just like having that ride with that IP in it is amazing. It's a timeless ride, and it's different every time you ride it, and it's just amazing. So I really hope they don't do what they did to that, to the ride in Disneyland. Even though I am a big Marvel fan, I'm for keeping that ride. It's one of the original rides left. And just like walking up Sunset Boulevard and seeing that building is insane. I love it. This is going to be an underrated opinion, but I am so excited for the Muppet Rock and Roller Coaster. I love the Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster. It's a nostalgic ride for me. I just have memories of riding it with my family, and it's a great ride. And I love Aerosmith and like the music. And I think it's pretty like interesting how they were able to get the rights to have that ride. But I really do think like the Muppet coaster is going to be cool. Big Muppet fan. And especially since they took away Muppet Courtyard, this is just like a little something I think that they are doing to like repay the hardcore Muppet fans out there. Me. All right. The next day we did a whole morning, afternoon at Epcot, and really focused on the Food and Wine Festival, which is my favorite festival they do have at Epcot. We were able to ride all the rides that I wanted to. We rode Living with the Land. We rode Soarin', which is a favorite for me, very nostalgic. And I rode Guardians again, obviously. But we kind of focused on more eating and drinking this go around at Epcot. We started at La Cava in the Mexico Pavilion. I got that avocado margarita, which is one of my favorite drinks ever. We rode the ride inside the Mexico Pavilion, which is also a great nostalgic ride for me. And then we ate the pumpkin raviolis right when you walk into the World Showcase. I forget the name of the booth, but it's the one that the people were fighting over the Figment popcorn bucket at. And that was probably like my favorite thing I ate. It was super delicious. And then another favorite was at the Alps booth. It was like this baguette that had ham and this crazy melted cheese and like these like little pickles in it. I can't even describe it. And potatoes. But the cheese on that dish was insane. I got a filet mignon, I believe, from Canada, which was really good. And then we went into China, which I've never really like super explored that country before in Epcot, and we went into the show, which I was like blown away by. It like legit made me want to go to China. And then we got this bubble tea alcoholic drink. It had like the boba in it and vodka, and it was delicious. It was called like something dragon, but definitely check that out as well. After our midday break, which we do every day, we then went to the Magic Kingdom for the first time this trip for the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, which I freaking love. There's special food there that you can't get during the day if you're not at the Halloween party. There's trick-or-treating, so there's free candy. The Boo to You parade is just amazing. I'm a huge Haunted Mansion fan, so riding that ride during the Halloween party is crazy. The residents from the Haunted Mansion are in the graveyard interacting with you in the queue while you're waiting to go into the building for the stretching room, and it's just, they're hilarious. And the way that they have the lighting on the Haunted Mansion itself is incredible. It's just like a different experience riding that ride at the Halloween party. The parade is really cool, and this is the first time in like a really long time since I was a kid I caught like the pre-parade, which is the headless horseman like going through the parade route. It is a real horse, obviously, and it's just amazing to kind of watch like how they were able to put like a headless person on there per se. We ate at Pinocchio's Village House, I believe it's called, and we got the undead chicken tenders, which are basically like garlic parm chicken tenders with like this sauce on it. And then there was like a fried pumpkin ravioli, which I feel like was like hyped up a little bit. It was kind of like dry in my opinion. But overall, like, I'm a big ravioli fan, so I would eat it regardless. And we did get the Captain Hook whoopie pie, which I enjoyed. It was kind of a little too rich for me. It had like a caramel center, and I couldn't really finish the whole thing. But if you're big on sweets and treats, that's probably for you. We rode Tiana's, and we rode It's a Small World and Peter Pan's Flight, which is super, super nostalgic and special for me to ride. I think like what they did with that queue is like amazing. You're literally going through the Darling household, and it's an interactive queue. I think they just know that wait time is always like insane and insufferable, and that line used to be outside only, and it was like you were frying on the pavement in Fantasyland, and they needed to do that. They probably got sued or something, but regardless, the queue is amazing. So if you haven't ridden that recently, if you're like nah, I would definitely check that out. It's a favorite of mine. And as far as Tiana's, I was like number one Splash Mountain stan. That was like the ride when I thought of Walt Disney World and going as a child. That is what I thought of. So I was like super heartbroken when they decided to refurb that ride. But I will say, I do like the Tiana theme. I think it could have been better, but I think like the animatronics like are cool, like traditional animatronics. Like they're not like what they did with Mickey and Minnie's and the Frozen ride, where it's like a screen on an animatronic body. Like I'm really for like the traditional version, and they did do that with this ride, so I am appreciative of that. Now, I just want to say, Tomorrowland is the best area in the Magic Kingdom. You can probably like figure out that I'm a fan of it because of the name of this channel. It is a nod to Space Mountain and the Starport 7.5 tunnel. The People Mover is one of my favorite rides ever. Just being able to go through the different areas of Tomorrowland and going through Space Traders and through Space Mountain is just incredible. Space Mountain is probably like, if not my favorite ride, like it's in the top 3. I love that area. And the following day of our trip, the last day, we spent a full day of Magic Kingdom. So I'm going to kind of combine that into this. I rode Pirates of the Caribbean multiple times. It is an absolute favorite ride of mine. And we had the opportunity to visit the Beacon Barrel. And I'm just going to say, like, if you can get a reservation, do it. It's like Trader Sam's on crack, and there's just details in there from like other rides and like nods to certain IP, and Rummy the Pirate is hilarious, and just like being in there is so freaking cool. I don't know like where they got all the space for that bar, but it's very large in there. I was expecting like a Oga's Cantina size, and it's like triple that. You will sit and stand depending on where they put you in the bar, but you will be with people outside your party. We got lucky, and we were with like these really cool people around our age. So I feel like they kind of might group you with people that are like in your age range, unless I just got lucky. But overall, like, I got the margarita. It was a great drink. Abby got like the siren tear drink. They put like mermaid tears in the drink, which is really cool. And the people next to us, they ordered some of like the food, which is like the cheese and the chips, and it looked delicious. It's like Oga's, how it's like a 2-drink minimum and 45-minute maximum. I'm sorry, you can only order 2 drinks, and you can stay in there for 45 minutes. And I soaked up every minute that I was able to stay in there. We got like one of the last groups close to closing, so by the time we got out, there wasn't really a lot of people in the bar, so it was cool to just kind of walk around in there, and then kind of come out to like a semi-empty park. It was really cool. Before I forget, I ate at the Skipper's Canteen for the first time, and I like knew that restaurant was there, but I always just kind of walked past it, and I ordered a delicious steak and a mango coconut cocktail, and it was probably the best food I ate all trip. Abby ordered like this noodle bowl, and I think she got a beer. But like the food was delicious. You have like a skipper as your server to go with like the Jungle Cruise theming, and the skipper we got, his name was Todd. And he was from Pembroke Pines, Florida. So Todd, if this ever gets to you, which I doubt it will, you were awesome and funny. And you made me like want to ride the Jungle Cruise and watch the Jungle Cruise movie with Dwayne The Rock. So shout out to you. But yeah, definitely eat at this restaurant. Like I didn't know it was that good and that it really existed, to be quite honest. All right, the last thing I'm gonna really touch on is the Starlight Parade. This was my first time being able to see it. I'm #1 SpectroMagic Parade stan, and like the music with this gave me a little bit of those vibes, which I greatly appreciated. I like the parade, but I feel like it was on the shorter side. It's around 11 minutes. The floats were cool. There's a lot of characters jammed in there. But I do feel like it's just like missing a little something, but it is something that I will continue to go and watch. We didn't get to watch the Happily Ever After firework display at the castle because we were waiting for our Beacon Barrel reservation, which is totally fine, because I've seen that firework display a bunch of times. It is like one of my favorite ones that they do. It's just like kind of nostalgic, and like the music and the projections down Main Street, and it's a really good firework display. Not as good as Wishes, and I will die on that grave, but it's good. We got to see like the actual fireworks from the Adventureland area, waiting for Beacon Barrel, which was really cool. They were like playing the Pirates of the Caribbean part of the display while we were outside of the ride, so that was actually pretty cool. And I just want to touch on one more thing: the Enchanted Tiki Room. I wouldn't say best. Top 3 attraction. No. Top 5 attraction at the Magic Kingdom. Traditional, original animatronics designed by Walt himself. That and the People Mover. If you ever take those away, there will be signs of my anger. This is not a threat, but there will be signs that I would be angry. They're revamping Carousel of Progress. That's what I was referencing. I don't know why I said the People Mover. Carousel of Progress. They are adding a scene with Walt Disney in there, which I think is really, really cool. The attraction itself, as much as I love how original it is, it does need like to be cleaned up. It's kind of like musty and stinky in there, and adding this scene, I'm sure they're gonna like maybe like update like the last scene in there with like proper current technology. So I do think that's really cool. But hey, this is my first episode. I hope I can continue to do this. Hopefully, I'll have some people that would want to come join me, so it's just not me rambling for an hour. But I appreciate if you are watching this. This is something I'm kind of doing to occupy my time as like a hobby outside of my work life, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.